we talked about yesterday how Ben Shapiro is obsessed with the royal family, and conservatives take personal affront to the royal family being besmirched in any way. We've really come full circle in this country, founded on
Candace Owens, the firebrand American conservative commentator, and Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, represent two contrasting worlds. Owens, known for her sharp wit and unflinching opinions, has never shied away from controversy. Markle, once a Hollywood actress, became a global icon upon marrying Prince Harry. Their paths, however, have been marked by a contentious relationship, with Owens emerging as a vocal critic of the Duchess. Owens's skepticism of Markle stems from what she perceives as a calculated attempt to leverage race for personal gain.
Kind of rejecting
1776,
royals.
baby.
I know, right? How do you square that circle, being all 1776 and then also simping for Queen Elizabeth?
It's worth noting that Candace is, I believe, still married to the founder of Turning Points UK, which is an explicitly monarchist organization. And
you can see there how the monarchy intersects with just like capitalism and authoritarian impulses. But regardless, so we saw Ben Shapiro defending the monarchy and the majesty of Queen Elizabeth specifically. Here's Candace Owens speaking about the kind of tabloid fodder of a memoir that has come out, Prince Harry's memoir, and Meghan Markle, his wife specifically, who is biracial. And this is another example of conservatives having zero self-awareness about their politics being based in projection.
You mentioned Meghan's, shall we say, changing views on race. You have actually said in all of Spare and all of the characters spoken about in Spare, the people spoken about in Spare, you believe Meghan Markle is the most racist person in the book. What do you mean by that?
Surprise.
She has questioned the validity of Markle's claims of experiencing racism within the royal family. Owens points to Markle's biracial heritage, arguing that it wasn't glaringly obvious and therefore unlikely to be the sole reason for any negative treatment. Instead, Owens posits that Markle, whom she labels a leftist narcissist, has strategically used the race card to silence critics and garner sympathy. This accusation feeds into a broader narrative Owens often presents, one where she argues that claims of systemic racism are often exaggerated or fabricated for political expediency.
What I mean by that is that if you go back and you look throughout Meghan Markle's entire career, she never wanted people to know that she was Black. She never wore that on her sleeve. She never spoke about her Blackness. If we had looked at her, I maybe would have assumed that she was Hispanic. No one would have ever guessed that she was Black. It was never relevant to where she wanted to be in her career. And the first time that you find that Meghan mentions her Blackness is when she wants to get out of the royal family. Even at the wedding, the only Black people she had were billionaires that she wanted to be on their shows. She had Oprah and she had Gayle King and she had her mother, who is partially Black. But Meghan Markle didn't have any of her Black family members at her wedding. This is a woman that was escaping her Blackness throughout her entire life until she realized that it could be used to her advantage. And I find that to be despicably racist. When you say the only value that being Black has to me is when I can use it to get ahead and to climb the social ladder, and that's when I'm going to mention it, and I'm going to use it as a shield so you can't say anything because I'm Black, and how dare you speak about a Black person in a negative way, because she realizes that I don't have to face any critiques. I'll just call it racism, and then everyone will have to excuse my behavior. I find that to be despicable. It's a very bad view of Black Americans to have, and I want to be clear that it's not the way that most of us think. And so I'm so disgusted. Now she's done a 23andMe because she wants people to know what percentage of Nigerian she is. She suddenly became interested in knowing what percentage of Nigerian she was at the ripe age of 41 years old. I mean, do me a favor, spare me, Harry, spare me.
All right, she's literally always at 100. And also, did she say anything about Edward Norton doing that stupid 23andMe where he found out he was a descendant of Pocahontas? She only cares now because it's a Black woman. And
one of the most explosive revelations from Markle and Harry's infamous Oprah interview was the alleged concern within the royal family about the potential skin tone of their then unborn son, Archie. Owens met this claim with incredulity, dismissing it as a blatant attempt to manufacture outrage and paint the royal family as inherently racist. To illustrate her point, Owens drew a parallel with her own family. She she recounted how, during her own pregnancy, family members playfully speculated about her son's potential skin tone, given her husband's fair complexion. This, she argued, was harmless curiosity, a far cry from the sinister interpretation Markle presented. For Owens, the episode epitomized what she views as Markle's modus operandi, weaponizing sensitive issues to cultivate a narrative of victimhood. This, Owens contends, is a cynical ploy to garner public sympathy and deflect from any legitimate criticism.
Something about Meghan Markle really bothers her. It seems to bother her that she was able to pass as white in her estimation for a little while. I mean, psychoanalyze that.
I feel like
you will.
The salience of that, like, like her ethnicity became more of a factor the closer she got to like marrying a royal. Like, surprise.
Right. And she entered into a racist institution, and then she realized, like, oh crap, this runs really deep.
And then she got like support from this Harry kid or whatever. Again, this is so stupid that we have to follow this. But like, and then was able to say like, oh yeah, racism is bad. I'm going to use like my position of like somewhat empowerment to say that.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's
like, what is the criticism? What is the real criticism we're supposed to have of Markle?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's really aesthetic. She comes off as a little insincere. She's an actress.
It's the monarchy.
They said they're leaving from the spotlight, and then now they're seeking attention. That's fine. But like, I don't really care. I don't care. Who cares about what they do with their time, right? I mean, that doesn't undercut their critique of the monarchy as a racist institution,
right?
And then just her whole. Like, this is a woman who's escaped her blackness her entire life until she realized she could use it to her advantage. Candace, talk to somebody.
Who are we talking about?
Who are we talking about here?
Who is the person who said? Who is the person? Every commentary that Candace Owens makes about blackness or black history is always couched in.
Owens has gone so far as to label Markle the princess of BLM, accusing her of harboring a hidden agenda to deconstruct the royal family. This label, laden with provocative imagery, links Markle to the Black Lives Matter movement, which Owens has frequently criticized. Owens sees a connection between Markle's alleged actions and what she perceives as BLM's broader goal of dismantling traditional power structures, including the nuclear family.
Putting the blame on whether it's slavery, whether it's systemic racism, structural racism, Reconstruction, anything like that, it's all grounded in the fact that black people play up their victimhood to receive preferential treatment and things that they essentially don't deserve but receive because they highlight their blackness.
Yeah, right. I mean, like
that's the whole point of the show. That's the whole point of Candace.
And she also knows that she can go places that other people can't go, and she uses that to differentiate herself. I mean, that is the like cynicism of her career. Almost like that.
Almost like she's using her skin color as a shield to make points that white people wouldn't feel as comfortable making for a conservative project.
Yeah, almost as if. Rich Stench writes in Meghan Markle's gather, that might be a typo, but father and you meant to say father. Meghan Markle's father in Suits, the show that made her famous, was black. Yeah, so her character on that show, she was black in it.
Maybe wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway. No one would have made that connection.
Yeah. Wow, she's something else, that Candace Owens.
She suggests that Markle, driven by a desire for fame and fortune, strategically targeted and manipulated Prince Harry to further her own ambitions. The couple's subsequent departure from their royal roles and their public airing of grievances, including the bombshell Oprah interview, only solidified Owens' convictions. She views these actions as a calculated assault on the very foundations of the British monarchy, orchestrated by a cunning and ambitious Markle. Owens's unwavering support for Piers Morgan, another prominent critic of Markle, further underscores her stance. When Morgan faced backlash and ultimately departed from Good Morning Britain after questioning the veracity of Markle's claims about her mental health, Owens vehemently defended him. She argued that Morgan was simply expressing a valid opinion and that his swift condemnation was a testament to what she perceives as a culture of censorship stifling dissenting voices. Owens maintains that Markle's actions and words should be subject to scrutiny, just like those of any public figure. Ultimately, Owens's critique of Markle transcends the specific allegations of racism or royal machinations. It reflects a fundamental clash of worldviews, a collision between Owens's brand of conservative American values and what she sees as Markle's embodiment of a progressive, woke ideology that she believes is eroding traditional institutions and values.